Today I want to talk about 5 RV park rules that campers hate and explain why they exist in this episode of Travels with Delaney. For stopping by our channel today. If you're not familiar with me, my name's Patrick. I've been RVing for over 20 years, and a year ago we sold our house, me and my wife, moved into our RV full-time, and I retired from my 28-year teaching career at Ivy Tech Community College, and now I run Half Acres Campground in Angola, Indiana, and that's why I have a different perspective on policies when it comes to RV parks. So let's go ahead, I'm going to jump on the golf cart, we're going to go for a little ride, and we're going to talk about these 5 policies that I find sometimes really irritate RVers. Sometimes they'll even say they just downright hate them. First up, check-in, check-out times. Now, I've been guilty of arriving at campgrounds before check-in time. I'm guessing we've all been guilty of that, or staying a little longer than we're supposed to. But here's why campgrounds have check-in and check-out times. It's because they need time to prep the sites. Now, I can't speak for all campgrounds, but I will tell you here, we get 1 hour between checkout and check-in, and that gives us enough time to do any repairs and maintenance that might be necessary on the site, as well as clean the fire pit, wipe down the picnic table, and make sure all the circuit breakers are shut off so that when you plug in, you don't get some kind of power surge. And that's why campgrounds have check-in and check-out times, and we as RVers should respect those times. Let's talk about site lock fees. Now, I know a lot of us hate site lock fees, and everybody thinks it's some kind of money grab by campground owners. Trust me, it's not. The whole concept of the site lock fee is just to give campgrounds flexibility to try to get as many campers booked in as possible. Sites are like a commodity. If we don't rent them tonight, we can't rent them twice tomorrow to make up for it. So having a site lock fee, I recommend you don't pay it under most circumstances. If you absolutely have to have a specific site that you absolutely love, pay the site lock fee. Or if you're camping with friends and you want to be side by side, pay the site lock fee. But if you don't care, it's just like going to a hotel room. You don't lock a specific hotel room, you just book a room type. You book a room with a queen size bed, and then they assign you one. And that's what I recommend you do at our park. If you're okay with just any pull-through full hookup site, don't waste your money on the site lock fee. But if you absolutely need a specific site for whatever reason, then go ahead and pay it. But just know, we're not doing it to make money. We're doing it to be able to get as many campers in here. And I could even show you an example of where if somebody was booked on a site, but if I could just slide them to a different site, then we could accommodate somebody for a longer stay. So that's the whole idea behind the site lock fee. Cancellation policies. Now, all campgrounds have some kind of cancellation policies, and they can vary from campground to campground. Here at our park, we do 30 days or more notice, you get a full refund. 7 to 29 days, you're going to get everything minus a $25 cancellation fee. And anything less than 7 days, you do not get a refund and you cannot reschedule. And we really do that because, again, I only have 91 sites here, and that's a little misleading because 51 of my sites are seasonal, so I really only have about 41, and 7 of those are cabins. So now we're down to around 30 sites that we rent nightly. So when somebody cancels at the last minute, like this particular site, and I'm sold out, we actually lose money. And again, we only have so many opportunities during our shortened camping season to make money. And so that's why they have cancellation policies. Now, over the years, I've never disrespected cancellation policies. We've booked campgrounds before where we couldn't go. We didn't expect our money back. But there seems to be a trend right now of people calling up the day of their arrival or the day before their arrival, wanting to cancel and expecting a full refund. Make sure you check the cancellation policies when you book sites so that you know exactly when you need to cancel by. That's the first thing I always do when I'm booking sites. I want to know what the cancellation policy is. And I have actually stayed at a campground before that had a 0 refund policy. If you canceled, didn't matter when you canceled. And I remember we waited a while to book that one because we wanted to make sure, because we were going to stay there like a week and we're going to be out $400 if we couldn't go. So anyway, campgrounds have cancellation policies, again, because they have to protect a commodity. Again, I know a lot of you are saying, well, how is a campsite a commodity? Because if we don't rent it tonight, we can't rent it twice tomorrow to make up for it. So we want to try to rent every site every day. And unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. Let's take a quick break. I'm going to grab a cup of hot coffee, and I want to take time to thank today's video sponsor, First Light Coffee. Now, what makes First Light Coffee so special is when you order your coffee, they roast it fresh and ship it directly to your home. Unlike the stuff you buy in a grocery store where it may be setting for months in a warehouse or on grocery store shelves, First Light, you always get fresh roasted, as fresh as you're going to get without doing it yourself. If you want to save some money and try their amazing fresh roasted coffee, I'm going to leave the link down below in the description of this video, and you can use the code TWD15 to save 10% on your first order. You can order any of their wonderful blends. You can get it any way you want. You want whole bean, you want ground, you want a 12-ounce bag, a 1-pound bag, a 2-pound bag. They have it. Let's go ahead and head back out into the campground so we can finish this list. Next up on the list, minimum stays. Now, we do minimum stays every weekend during the summer on Fridays and Saturday nights because, again, we have a limited number of sites and we know that we're going to sell out most weekends during the summer. So we do a 2-night minimum stay. But most campgrounds have a 3-night minimum stay just like we do on all the major holidays. Memorial Day, Labor Day, and 4th of July. And if a campground's open year-round, there may be additional minimum night stays during things like Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving. Now, why do we do that? Why do campgrounds have minimum night stays? Again, it goes back to we're trying to maximize occupancy. So we know most people at 4th of July are going to want to stay 3 nights. So if we allow somebody to book 1 night, most likely we're not going to be able to rent the other 2 nights. So that's why we have to have minimum stays. And again, every campground is going to have different policies. We don't have minimum stays during the week, for instance, because we know we're not going to fill up. It's just during those time periods when we know we're going to fill up, and we want to make sure we're maximizing every site and get every camper that wants to stay here in here. Last thing, guest fees. Why do campgrounds charge fees for guests to come visit you? Now, again, I can't speak for all campgrounds on this subject, but I can tell you here it has to do with the limited amenities that we have, and we want to make sure our paying guests get to utilize them. Primarily what's behind me, our pool. Now, we don't have a huge pool here, but it's very popular in the summer because we heat our pool the entire summer. So if we allow lots of paid guests to come in and they start using the pool, then you as a camper all of a sudden feel like you're not getting to use it because it's so full of people. So we charge a fee for guests, not because we want to try to make money, because honestly we don't make that much money off of it. We do it because we're actually discouraging people from having guests so that we make sure all of our paid campers can utilize all of our amenities to their fullest potential. And I think that's why most campgrounds who charge guest fees do it. And we're actually getting to a point here because we're so busy in the summer that we may have to limit having guests coming in to a certain number each day. We haven't figured that out yet. We're trying out some different things because we still want our campers to have friends come over and visit and have a grill out, that type of thing. It's just when we have too many guests plus a full house, things like the pool and the disc golf carts just become unmanageable. There you go, 5 policies that RVers may not like and may downright hate at times, but at least this hopefully gives you a little insight into why campgrounds and RV parks have some of these policies in place. And until next time, everybody, we'll see you on down the road. Bye.
Travels with Delaney. We'll see you on down the road.